Alright everybody, this is Eternal Blade here and welcome back to our cruise cabin tutorial. So, last time we worked on building this vent and the fire sprinkler thing. I wasn't totally happy with either of those, but we're just sort of gonna try to salvage it, I guess. So the first thing we want to do here is make this a bit thicker. Okay, and then bring this up a little bit. It was just a bit too big. Okay, now for this vent, all that work we did, we're probably just going to sort of throw out. I think we're going to texture in the little holes. It's just not worth it in terms of rendering speed and whatnot. So I don't want to mess with it anymore. I mean, we can make it work if we really tried, but it's just going to be a pain. So we're going to pretend we didn't do that. Alright, Shift F to get rid of those safe frames. But today, I think we're going to focus on, we're going to do the desk. I think the desk is a solid choice here. So the first thing we're going to do is just grab these layers here, or these polygons. I believe that's all. Let's just bring it down a bit. Okay. Now, we're just going to do some beveling. Actually, we're going to Shift drag that up and clone it to an object, because we'll use that later for the glass top. Okay, so let's select these polygons again. Okay, we'll just go into the top view here. And bevel, let's just make sure this is doing what we want, and it, for the most part, is. What we can do here, just to sort of cheat, is take these and extrude. There we go. That way, our desk will work. So when we do our bevels, it'll sort of cave in on itself instead of, make sure you grab that one too. There we go. Alright, so let's start with I guess a small bevel right here. And let's do an outward bevel. Okay, let's bring it back in. Okay. Maybe do a small bevel here. Bring it in a bit. Alright, that should be good. Bring it up. And let's bring it over one. Okay. Same level in one. And then let's go up a little bit. And one more in. Okay. Now what we want to do is actually grab all of these polygons here, including the bottom and the back, and let's actually detach those. Okay. So basically all we have is the top. Now, if we apply a Turbo Smooth modifier to this, you'll see we instantly get sort of that result we're looking for on the side. Now we do need a bit of cleanup. So let's go back in here, edit poly, and let's see what we need to do. So at this point we can't isolate selection, just so we can see it a bit easier. And let's see, we can probably go here and connect and simply drag it down to about here. And let's go into our front view here, grab these polygons and just delete them. Okay, go to your verts, press R, and simply scale them so they're straight together. So now when you do a Turbo Smooth, it won't smooth that corner at all, so you just have kind of a nice straight edge. And we're going to do the same thing for the back here. The other option we can do is simply, let's see, select all these polygons, deselect those, and I believe if we delete that, that should give us our desired result. Yes, there we go. So So that's about what we want, and we can actually just go to vertex here, R, and just straighten those up. Alright, perfect. So now if we go to end isolation mode, we sort of have our little tabletop. Now this, what we're going to do with this is go here, and we're going to extrude it just a little bit. Okay, there we go. And then let us actually isolate this just to make it a little easier to work with. And we're going to need to create some geometry here. So actually, let's grab those lines and bring them down a bit. Just it'll make it a little easier on us. So let's go to polygon mode here, and actually what we can do is just shift drag this, clone to element, and let's Control A, weld, and you'll see we have 6 welds, so we need a few more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why are we not welding all these? Control A, weld. Alright, let's see what didn't weld. So apparently nothing welded. I wonder where the 6 things we welded were. Okay, so let's try a vertex here, target weld, and that'll work. So we'll just do this all the way around. There's something wrong. Interesting, it won't let me weld on this one. Alright, we're just going to go back to what we initially had wanted to do. Oops, watch out we don't delete unnecessary things. So let's go to polygon and then go down here to create. And let's just create every other polygon here. Make sure you actually get it on, you have to make sure the cursor turns colors, or turns to the little other crosshair symbol, I guess. Okay, and now there's something happening here. Don't know what it is, but maybe that's just the way it works. Okay, so we'll just keep going. I was trying to not have to create all of these by hand, but I guess that's just sometimes the way it works. Okay. Good deal. One more. And then we have the big one to do. And we'll see if this works the regular way. Oh, that works. Okay, perfect. So there we go. Make sure you save your work. Alright, now I'm going to grab this, click, and let's see. Let's just select all these interior these interior edges here, connect, 2 connections, and just bring the pinch out a little bit. Perfect. And now we can end isolation mode. So now what we've got basically is this. So what we need to do is actually go here, effect pivot only, centered object, just so it's easier for us. Just scale this down so we get a very thin sort of surface, which will be the glass. Okay, and now all we have to do is just position it directly on top of this. Grab this puppy, and let's just bring it up to the level of the book. Right about here. Alright, that should be just about perfect. Yeah, I don't think that will cause any trouble. Excellent. Alright, so there we go. Now we have the glass surface there. And now let's work on the desk itself. So basically, what we need to do here is, let's see, let's isolate this just so we can see what we've got to work with. So we need to sort of create a cutout in here. So let's go here, connect, give it 2 connections and press OK. And now we need to grab this polygon and extrude it backwards. Okay, just like that. Now grab that polygon and delete it. Okay, and then we need to grab this polygon and delete it. Good. So now go to our vertex mode here, target weld, and just weld this over here and this over here. That'll sort of give us the little box that we're looking for. And then you can come over here and just make sure that they are nice and aligned. Okay. So now we have that. You don't even really need the surface here. Well, I guess you do actually need the surface. Okay. So next, let's think about this. How do we want to approach this? All right, let's end isolation mode. And what I'm thinking about here is the size, because I have no idea the size of this. That is the one fault of working with only one image, is you don't really know. So here's that edge. The other edge is where? Let's hide some stuff here. Alright. So basically, wrong piece, we need this piece. So here we are. So here's the one edge of the mirror and here's the other edge. So we just need to sort of center it up there and just make sure we have enough room for sort of a chair. So I'm going to say that is probably not quite enough. So let's just increase it a bit. I know we need to have enough room for a drawer as well, a little small drawer right here. And as soon as the curve starts, that's where the other big sort of drawer opens up. Okay, so I'm going to think that's probably enough right there. Okay, so now what we can do is, let's see, if we turbo smooth that, what do we get? A lot of problems. So let's go in here and we can delete out most of our problems. Well, we don't actually want to use that method. Let's go here, connect, and let's just pinch this outward on both sides there. Okay. Now what have we got? Damn it. I hate moving the camera. Alright, perspective. Okay, so we've got that. Now we need to work on the edges here. So let's grab this, connect. Good. And then we can grab this, connect. That should be good. Grab this, let's connect it, and let's connect those. And let's finally connect that and this corner. Alright, that should resolve almost all of our problems. We do have some interesting curvage here. guess it didn't quite like that connect. Oh, I don't think it's... It is a big deal. So we're just gonna do the age-old tactic of delete the bottom polygons. Because what it does, it just prevents the turbo smoothing from sort of, well, turbo smoothing. Alright, let's just Control A, go to the front viewport, and delete everything that's not directly on the bottom. Bingo. So now if we turbo smooth, it should be perfect. Go nice crisp edges and corners. Everything's happy. Now what we can do if we want, so I think we can grab that and just shift drag, well, extrude in just a bit. That'll give us sort of a little curved edge there in the bottom. Right, end isolation mode. And now we need, oh, I wondered where that fan went. I've been looking for that the whole time. Alright, there we go. So, go to our vertice mode, grab all the top verts, and actually let's unhide all. Okay, and let's just drag these up. You can just put them so they're sort of, you know, inside the desk there. Just a little bit. Right, perfect. There we go. That looks pretty good. I'm thinking though that maybe our opening is too big for the chair, that is. Watch out, your scale needs to be on uniform. Okay, there we go. So now what we can do is, let's see, what do we want to do? We need some drawers here. And so we're just going to use, if we go to group, ungroup, let's just grab this. It's literally the same thing. Okay, and we'll just reuse these. So it looks like we're going to have, I don't know if it's one set or two sets. I think they're like really long drawers, so we're going to assume two sets. Okay, and let's grab this, this, and isolate. Now we can do our drawers here in peace. Okay, so let's just make sure they go almost to the edge. Okay, there we go, and bring it up. Kind of a little bit below the top there. And for our piece here, we'll just sort of center it as best we can. And actually an easy way to do that is just do a box with auto grid. Okay, there's your box, and give it one segment in each direction. And now if you just line this up with the center of that, you're good. And then line it up, well, you don't have to worry about the other one, but okay. Perfect. So now let's just see how lucky we are. And man, I gotta say, it doesn't get much luckier than that when your boxes just sort of fit. Okay, so there's those drawers. Now grab those and shift drag them over here. And actually, we can probably bring them right to about here. Grab these portions, and actually, let's just create one. Alright, now these are going to be sort of smaller, so let's see, what are we gonna do here? So you kind of see where the edge of the desk curves, so this is kind of the edge of the curve right here. So little short drawers. Okay, so that's about what we want. So now what we can do is just drag that and align it with the others and do 2. And delete the big brothers of them. Alright, looks pretty good to me. And then we're basically going to have, let's grab this polygon, and we will grab all of these, press W, and let's shift, drag them out, clone to object. Okay. Let's give this a shell. We'll give it an inner amount. Well, actually, no, we do want an outer amount. This is, by the way, the easier method of creating geometry that I just thought of. And then let's ensure that it fits. So, effect pivot only, centered object. Little T here. Alright, so move it into position here. Theoretically, you would like to hope it would fit perfect, but unless I rotated this, I have no idea why this isn't fitting. How strange. I must have rotated it and didn't know it. The heck? Oh well. I'm sure someone saw my mistake at some point. Okay, and let's just convert to an editable poly here. Grab these top ones, and in the front viewport, just bring them down so they match this gray ones. So right below the line there. Alright, let's just make these gray so we can see. A little easier. Alright, and then let's grab the bottom verts and just bring them up a little bit. Just so they're not resting on the floor. Okay, and that looks pretty good. Alright, so grab all of this stuff here and just do a connect, 2 connections, pinch it out, 98 will work, and then I'll go here, and shift, connect, and do your small little pinch. Okay, and then I believe if we do a turbo smooth, I think we'll need one more line, but yeah, we do need a line in the corner there, but we're almost perfect. Okay, so just grab the edges here, connect, you want one connection, and just slide it over the edge there. Watch out. Connect, and then do the same on this side, except you want to go the other direction for your connect. Minus 92. Okay. And there we go. Now we have a nice little cabinet piece. So grab this and just shift drag it over, and we can just sort of put it in here near the edge where it would actually be, or at least almost be. You can probably rotate it a bit, it's fine. There we go. Now what we can do is simply, ooh, these are all sort of floating in space, aren't they? Let's bring these back. There we go. So select everything here, assign it a gray material, end isolation mode here. Let's go into our camera view. Let's see how we're doing. And man, I think we did pretty damn good with that. Although this, we may need to make it a bit higher there. Okay, just so it sort of matches, and then this one maybe bring it a bit higher as well. Actually, we can, watch out, just select all of this. That'll get all three of them, and just drag them all up just a little bit. Okay, perfect. So there we go. That looks like, ooh, this top piece, we forgot this. Let's give this a turbo smooth. And then we'll fix that real quick. So isolate selection, perspective. And so this needs a little bit of treatment here. So connect, and then one connection, and just slide it over the edge there. And then just get a little closer. And then we're gonna need, let's see, actually that's probably not what we wanna do. Let's select all of the internal polygons here. Inset. We'll just give them all a very small inset. Okay. And now if we turbo smooth, that's not what we need either. Okay. So we do really need, we need to do the edges. That's what it is. So select that. Control click. I'm just selecting the corner edges here and chamfer. And you'll see now the corners are getting a little chamfered. Okay. And that should resolve our problem, mostly. We'll just connect that anyway and see what that does for us. Ha! Success, and mostly success. Problem with this is I need to go this way across it, and I really don't want to do that. So our other option is, let me think. Well, I don't even think we can see that, so it's not an issue. If we end isolation mode, go to camera. Yeah, no, that's not even in the scene, so we're good to go. That looks pretty good. Maybe I actually grab this and move it back just a bit, and then move it over just a bit, just so it's sort of on top of the surface, not, you know, right at the edge. All right, perfect, just perfect. All right, so that'll be the end of this part, and I will see. Wait, no. I was almost ready to give up here. Looks like we're missing a drawer. So perspective Z, let's fix this. So there's actually a drawer right here. So how are we going to fix this? Polygon. Let's grow it. And grow one more time. Alright, so what have we got? Okay. So what we need to do is press 1, grab all of these, and actually let's isolate this selection here. Alright, so we don't really have a top on it. So basically we need this to sort of come down here. And then, alright, how about we just select this edge, and this edge, shift drag down a bit, and then shift drag back. Yes, and then we need and chamfer this edge. Just give it a very small chamfer. That's not quite what we want. We really do need to do this correctly, I guess. So we'll undo that. We won't undo that. That's cool too. Just delete these things we made. Okay, how do we want to go about doing this? There's got to be a method here. Alright, so let's grab these lines here and deselect those. And let's do a connect. And give it one segment, and there we go. So this will be about the level of where we want the drawer. Okay? Now what we need to do is, I think we can delete, we just need to go from over and down. So let's delete that here. Okay, and then we can take this and delete it. Alright, and now what we can do is take this edge here, grow it once, and shift drag it out. Okay, do 1 and 2. Alright, now what we need to do is go to our vertex mode here and target weld. He's not going to want to weld. Oh, there they go. And weld. Good. And then let's go on the other side. Weld. We should be 2. Good. Alright. And now we need to grab those same lines and go up and then up. Okay? Just like that. Weld. 2 have been welded. Alright, go here, weld, and 2, only 1 has been welded. There we go. 8, 7, 6, 5. That's too many. Let's see exactly what's going on here. So we'll go to target weld. Sort of odd. Why don't you want to let me weld you? Ah, that's why. Alright, so target weld. Alright, that should be almost all of those. Nope, not this one yet. What's this one connected to? So you're open on that side, and then you're open on that side. You should be able to weld. Don't see what your problem is. Target weld that to that. Why is that not working? This isn't 2 vertices, no? How strange. Let's just get rid of that one there. Oh, see, that doesn't want to work either. I think it's because we have 2 things coming in here and only 1 coming out. Oh man, we're so close. Well, we're not actually that close. Alright, we're going to take some drastic measures here. So let's just grab this and this and delete. Alright, that sucks. I should have remembered I had to do that piece. Alright, and delete. So there we go, now we're back to square one here. Delete that. Whatever the heck that is. Delete it. I don't need it. Alright, make sure that doesn't have any. Alright, delete. And delete. Okay. So now how do we do this? We need a line sort of here. Alright, so control, shift drag. Okay, we got that. Problem is that's not what we want. We just want to bridge these. That's really all we need. And then we come in here, grab these three, or four, I guess, and 5. Okay, and then we can shift drag it back a little bit, and then shift drag it more, and then what we can do is grab this top line, oops, careful, and just see, drag it down and drag it down. Okay, grab your vertices in the corners there, and you've got your 2, and you've got your other 2. Okay, oh, we're getting much closer now. Okay. So now what we need to do is add some chamfers. Actually, don't really need chamfers, we just need edges. So go here, deselect your back edges, connect, and bring the slide up to the top there. Okay. Now, let's see. Alright, now I need some on the edge over here. So, let's just do a connection with 2, 0 slide, and 99 pinch. And there we go. That looks pretty good. Now remember, a drawer will be covering this anyway, so it sort of doesn't matter about the back as much. But if we want to make the back a little nice, we can just grab it all. And grab the bottom pieces. And just extrude them back. Or, actually, we don't want to do that. We need to see why this isn't welded. I don't understand that. You know what? It doesn't much matter. We're just going to delete this piece because you're not going to see it, and it's just causing us more problems than anything. There. Problem solved. Okay, so end isolation mode, and let's just drag any of our drawers over here. Okay, Alt W, let's just grab this piece here, press 1 and adjust it to where it sort of meets. Okay, and now this is going to be a smaller drawer, about half the height. So That's about good. Alright, and now we can grab this little piece and sort of center it up here. Alright, there we go. And now, if we look, now we've got the right drawers that we need. And actually, I think we can probably scale that in just a bit. Alright, perfect. So there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed this part. It was kind of long. I made a couple mistakes along the way, but it's all a learning process. Happy modeling. Hope you guys have learned something, and I will see you guys next time.